Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to the witnesses for being here. Dr. Quay, if I could just start with you. You said in your written testimony that the genome of COVID has some of the hallmarks of gain-of-function research, and in particular, 3 genomic regions you say have the signature of synthetic biology. One region has features of the 2 types of forbidden gain-of-function research that are associated with bioweapons development. And you said in your opening remarks that you believe COVID-19 was the product of gain-of-function research and was from a lab leak from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. My question, I guess, is do you think that China engaged in a cover-up to prevent the world from knowing the true origins of this virus and a lab leak?
I think there's abundant evidence that they have not shared all the information they had at the time. They continue to not share information. I could give you a laundry list of 20 things that they've done, starting with a website with 21,000 viruses on September 12th. 2 a.m., someone was in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. That had been available to virologists for a decade. It was taken offline. It's not been returned. We've asked to see it. No one that I know of has ever seen it. It goes on from there.
Are you concerned with the continuation and expansion of Chinese gain-of-function research?
Well, I think I testified here that in December 2019, they were doing synthetic biology on a cloning vector of the Nipah virus, which is 60% lethal. We just experienced a 1% lethal virus. My estimates would be that could set us back a millennium. The Black Plague was a 20% lethal event, and it was 250 years for civilization to return.
Let me ask you this. How safe were the testing conditions at Wuhan, to your knowledge?
Well, I think that a lot of the Western virologists actually used the findings of that as a way to get around saying it was okay at the beginning. All of the work that I've described is being done at what's called BLSA 2-3 level, which is commonly spoken of as a dentist laboratory level of biosafety. So maybe a little higher than that, but that's not a bad euphemism.
You said, I think in your testimony, this is the most dangerous research that you have ever encountered. What makes this particular research so dangerous?
If you're doing experiments with a pathogen that is 60% lethal but is not airborne, and you make it airborne in the laboratory, and someone walks out with it. Nipah has a 21-day incubation period. It's perfect for widespread spread without being detected. We couldn't afford 60%. We can't afford 10% lethality.
Yeah. Dr. Ebright, let me ask you about the merits of gain-of-function research, because I was struck by something you said in your written testimony. You said gain-of-function research has no civilian practical applications. From a research perspective, then, why do it? I mean, what's the value, the real value of gain-of-function research?
Not a matter of value, but incentives, particularly incentives within the academic research ecosystem. Gain-of-function research of concern is fast and easy, much faster and much easier than vaccine or drug development. And gain-of-function research is publishable, and gain-of-function research is fundable. With those 4 incentives in place, fast, easy, fundable, and publishable, the research will be performed.
What is...
Eliminate any one of those incentives, and it will not be.
So, thinking about China for a second, what's China's interest in gain-of-function research?
They have witnessed the United States leading the way with gain-of-function research. Most gain-of-function research of concern performed to date has been performed either in the U.S. with U.S. funding or overseas with U.S. funding. China has wished to be part of that and has participated in gain-of-function research of concern in China with U.S. funding, and has also supported gain-of-function research of concern in China entirely through Chinese programs.
So let me ask you this: gain-of-function research and bioweapons. What's the connection there? I mean, what role does gain-of-function research play?
As I mentioned, there are no civilian practical applications. There are immense bioweapons practical applications. As you've heard from Dr. Esvelt, the potential pandemic pathogens that can emerge from such studies are potential weapons of mass destruction, inexpensive, accessible, easily distributed weapons of mass destruction.
Let me ask you about some of the things that you have commented on with regard to what NIH and Dr. Fauci have said, and frankly, the lies they've been caught in regarding the coronavirus. I want to highlight 2 of them. In response to a congressional inquiry from October of 2021, just last year, the NIH attempted to walk back assertions by NIH Director Collins and Fauci that NIH had not funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan. You commented at the time saying, and I'm going to quote you now, NIH, specifically Collins, Fauci, and Tabak, lied to Congress, lied to the press, and lied to the public knowingly, willfully, brazenly. On May the 11th, Dr. Fauci said the NIH and NIAID categorically has not funded gain-of-function research to be conducted in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. You commented on that, saying the documents make it clear that assertions by the NIH director, Francis Collins, and Fauci that the NIH did not support gain-of-function research are untruthful. So just expand on that if you would. I mean, what are the implications of Dr. Fauci's continued blatant dishonesty regarding NIH's funding of gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
I stand by my statement. The statements made on repeated occasions to the public, to the press, and to policymakers by the NIAID director, Dr. Fauci, have been untruthful. I do not understand why those statements are being made, because they are demonstrably false.
Can I ask you just about, in my few remaining seconds here, let me ask you about an effort to shut down any kind of questioning of the origins of COVID. On February 19, 2020, a group of virologists and others published the famous letter, infamous letter in The Lancet, which said, among other things, "We stand together to strongly condemn conspiracy theories suggesting COVID-19 does not have a natural origin." And of course, we later found out that the Lancet letter had been organized by Peter Daszak, president of EcoHealth Alliance, which we've discussed today, operated a lab in Wuhan with a $600,000 5-year annual grant of taxpayer dollars from Fauci's NIAID to study bat coronaviruses. That letter conveniently concluded by stating, "We declare no competing interests." Many people designate this letter as the first effort to quash any kind of debate about the origins of COVID-19. Do you think that labeling the lab leak theory as a conspiracy theory so early on had the effect of slowing down investigations into the origins of the virus?
It certainly had that effect, but the Lancet letter that you described was only one of two efforts to impose the false narrative that science shows SARS-CoV-2 entered humans through natural spillover, and that is the consensus view of scientists. One of the efforts was the Lancet letter you discussed. The other effort was coordinated and orchestrated through the National Institutes of Health, through the NIAID director, Dr. Fauci, and the NIH director, Dr. Collins, and resulted in the publication of an opinion article entitled "Proximal Origins of SARS-CoV-2," making the case, again, that SARS-CoV-2 could not have been a product of research-related spillover.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.